And we're live. Everybody, welcome to Charlie the War Game Chat, our monthly show on YouTube. I'm Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me tonight are my co-hosts, everybody's favorite Gimp with the Limp, the TheGimpyGamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, Nate?
It's going great. Been keeping myself busy and prepping for the new arrival here in about a month.
A new game coming?
No, I got a bunch of those. Yes, the baby is coming, and I've picked a name, Kennedy.
Ooh, I like it.
Nice.
Well, we've got a theme we're going with. So, for the three girls, we've got Kenna Rain, Kinsley Lane, and Kennedy Jane. So they're all sticking together, and we didn't plan that originally; it just kind of worked out that way.
That's pretty cute.
When we figured it out, I was like, okay, Kennedy's the name. We're locked in. That's what it's going to be.
Very nice. And my other co-host, the Wargaming Wizard from Oz, everybody's favorite big board guy, Kev Sharp. How's it going, Kev?
I'm doing great. I'm not expecting, I don't think.
At least not that you know of, right?
Not that I know of, right?
And tonight's special guest is John Kranz, the founder of one of the cornerstones of the wargaming hobby, Consimworld, and also a project manager with Compass Games. We're going to be talking all about Consimworld tonight and the changes that are going on there, and the history of Consimworld as well. Thanks for joining the show tonight, John, and appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much, Moat, for the invite, and thanks, Kev and Nate. Appreciate what you guys do every week, so I'm a big fan. So great to be here. Well, I know
Kev's been dumping a lot of content there onto the Consimworld social site. He's like trying to stay on the top of the leaderboard.
He's a machine. Roger McGowan sort of, I think he's using a utility or something. I think he's got everything on autopilot because it's like middle of the night, there's posts. And
I need to work that out. How is he doing that magic?
I don't know. I don't have any, when we talk about the community, there's no really APIs connecting to it. So usually there's all kinds of little utilities where you can schedule posts to just go out. But I don't know. He must be a machine. Roger, I guess, doesn't sleep. So
well, don't forget.
I'll have to ask him.
That 3-day ban on Facebook. So I think maybe he put that to good effect because he wasn't on there at one point, and I come in and there he is. He's got 4,000 posts. There's all great content. So
yeah, the timing was crazy because I heard he got banned for 2 days, and then somebody said no, it's now turned into 4 days because there was a second post. So people were getting more frustrated, and so I just reached out to Roger because we hadn't officially launched the site yet, but I thought he's probably frustrated that he can't post to Facebook because he's such a regular there, and I'm sure people miss it. So I said, well, here's another option for you available until you go back to Facebook. And now he's going to do both, I'm sure. So,
well, John says, darn, I was expecting smooth jazz. Like, this isn't the Compass show. This is Charlie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how much people like the intro music we use, but at least it's copyright free. That's good enough for me. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, we know when we hear that Compass smooth jazz going, it's just about time for the Compass show. And we know you're going to have a great guest, or you're going to have Bill on, and Bill's going to do those patented Bill unboxings, which are a trip.
It doesn't fit. Smooth jazz does not fit given how unsmooth our actual town halls are. It's sort of a dichotomy. They're totally opposite of what actually happens once we go live. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah. But you know what, John? You've really your show has really come a long way. I remember the first couple of times you did it, you kind of had a curtain hanging up to one side, and see a microphone that sort of worked, and is this on? Look, now here's some rules, and now it's like a full deal. It's the real deal. Look at your studio here.
Yeah. I've actually got a small office. I wish I was set up like Kev. I don't have like gaming tables or gaming areas. I can't leave anything out, unfortunately. So everything I do is pretty much done on the computer. I do have a table outside, but it's really hard to get access to because there's a family. So I have to make the most out of a 10 by 10 office, which is what I'm sitting in here. So one day I hope to have a nice setup where I can have stuff set out. Sort of like what Bill has. Bill's got like 5 ping pong tables. He's got, I think, a 1,200 foot basement. He said it was 1,200 feet compared to my 100. So he's got me beat there pretty bad. So I'm jealous. I'm jealous of all you guys. You all have better setups than I have.
So you can't leave a game out ever?
No,
anywhere?
I don't have not really, no. Unfortunately not. So when my son goes to college, then things are going to change probably, but I'm sort of stuck in the meantime.
I mean, you could kick him out. I'm sure he could make it.
Son,
Kids,
higher priorities here. I need to set up a form-mapper.
Trust me, I get it. They get in the way of game space. My wife is nagging at me right now to get rid of the extra table set up in our spare room because she wants to set that up into a full nursery. But I'm like, look, I've got all this space. I can put monster games here. And she doesn't see the positive values that brings to the family versus nursery. We can put a baby anywhere. Babies are like this big.
Yeah, my wife's great. She's very supportive, but I don't think she would ever get excited if I found out I could like have a backyard studio or create or do something just for the hobby. And I think she'd she'd put up with me.
Get a shed put up. Get a shed put up and have utilities run through it. There you go.
I'm just gonna have to crash Ken's pad in Austin, and that'll be the best I can do for a while.
Come on down. Come and crash at my place.
There we go. Kev's got a great setup. I would have a lot of fun with Kev for sure. And knowing what he drinks and seeing his regular gastronomy patterns, I think I'd lock in pretty quickly to what Kev does for sure.
Yeah, we'd have a good time. And we don't have to drink all the time, just most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, you got to sleep, right? So that's when you don't drink.
Exactly.
So Lead Magnet is saying that John Kranz has been making the rounds. He might have a future in the game business.
There we go.
He might be right.
The wargaming business is so much money. You can just there's so much to be made. There's a few. I take it back. GMT Academy Games. There's a few doing great with historical games.
Compass is doing pretty darn good.
Bill's doing good too. That's for sure. So, and the entry point. Well, the thing is, the entry point's so low. I think that's what the benefit is, that people can do it on the side, or look what Hollandspiel has done. When they made their decision, they took it head on, and they've made a great run at it. They're doing fantastic. So it's nice to see such a low entry bar. I think that's the main thing.
Well, that's kind of that way for everyone. Everyone kind of starts out at the hobby level and then progresses up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when you start, it's just going to be whatever titles you're going to come out with. And I don't know anybody that's come out with a huge splash. You're right. I think they've just built up their audience, and I think Hollandspiel is a good example of that, actually. Starting small and making that big decision, tough decision, but they've really, customers really love their products, variety, and thought that goes into their game. So they're a great role model to look at, I think.
Roger over at Revolution, I think Revolution could really do better, but Roger's such a perfectionist with development that he doesn't come out with a ton of games every year. He just plays a game and plays a game and plays a game. That's why their games are so well developed, and there's not a lot of errata and stuff afterwards, is because he plays the hell out of them before he releases them.
And I think that's what it is for the hobby. It's like what makes you happy. And I think I haven't talked to Roger about it, but others have told me that. And Bill knows him quite well, so Bill sort of mentioned the same thing, that Roger really likes the development aspect of it, which means the title's really going to maybe change and go through all these gyrations where he's going to put his stamp on it, but that means it's going to limit the number of releases. But I think that's what he wants to do. So I think that's great for the customers, because they know when Revolution comes out with something, it won't be that maybe as often, but it'll be a very well developed game for sure, with his own personal touch to it. So Bill's up late, 1 a.m. in the UK. Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Stayed up just to see you.
I don't know about that.
Well, he didn't come here just to see us. He wanted to see you too as well. Because,
sure.
We've got a bunch of people already on. We got 26 so far at this point. And, they'll just keep growing. So anybody in the audience that you have questions, obviously, make sure to post them up here and we'll get them out to John. But we'll start things off real quick. You have the new social site that's starting up, and Consimworld. We were talking Compass.
Sure.
Consimworld's been around since 1996. Yeah. And before that, it was what? Virtual Wargame Headquarters?
Virtual, You know your history. Virtual Wargamers. And I think I did an email newsletter even before that as well, covering the hobby. So it probably started in the early 90s. And I did other types of organized things before that, but it was all offline. It was I was big into game club organization before going.
Really?
Yeah. That was my big thing. It was interesting. I grew up in Ventura, which is an old F&M person named Richard DeBon. I just saw his picture because Roger McGowan posted a picture of F&M and showed Richard DeBon doing Highway to the Reich, playing Highway to the Reich to get ready for an early F&M. which are my favorite magazines. I think are the early editions are fantastic.
Yes, they're great.
And Richard actually lived in my area. And I started a game club actually when I was 16. It was like an adult club, but I was 16 doing this game club at the library and doing a newsletter where I had to literally cut the paper and make it black and typeset it out. And so I got really into organization of things at an early age. So I just like being an organizer of things, I guess is how you would put it, versus maybe a player. So that's how it sort of started.
Yeah, and it's served you well because of what you did with Consimworld, and then a couple of years after that, you got started with the Expo as well, and that's been around for last year would have been the 20th year, so this year would be 21.
Yeah,
and this is actually now a quarter of a century old. Consimworld is because it's 25 years old.
I know.
Not to make you feel any older than you already
not
feel.
At all. No, not at all. We're just getting started. Just catching my second wind.
So talk about what was the move now to the new site. What
Sure.
Obviously you wanted to evolve to the next level, but talk about that move from the initial social aspect to what's going to be in place now.
Yeah, so I'd say seeing what you're doing, Mo, with virtual conferences and what Kevin's doing and Nate, how you guys are supporting the hobby. I feel like 2020 was such a unique, challenging year for everybody, and everybody needed to connect online, and you guys were that outlet. I felt like Consimworld needed to put a chip on the table and to show thanks to our members because, they're supportive every year, that we need to up our game. And so, for 2021, my commitment to members is we're all going to be about quality of services versus quantity. So we started with mothballing our old social site, which nobody knows about because nobody would go to it because it just wasn't a good platform. It wasn't a well thought out platform play. It was just something we stood up years ago, and it just didn't go anywhere. It just died on the vine. Just wasn't a good play, but it just languished out there. And after 2020 being what it was, I thought people are really connecting well virtually, and I really want to be able to celebrate the hobby and not it's so easy to have conflict these days between people online on various sites. I wanted to make 2021 a positive year of investing in better services, but focusing on positive outcomes for the community. So we're going to start with the community site, which we'll talk about here. So social's going away in about 30 days. That's going away. It's already has no link to it anymore. I got rid of the link. It's now community anyway. And then the next step later this year, once I get a few platform issues resolved, and if it looks like to be a go, we're going to also re-platform our discussion forum at Talk and get that also updated as well. So it's all about quality of a service.
Tell us more about that, mate. About how what's the concept around the forums? Because that's almost like an iconoclast, don't touch, don't break thing. How are you going to manage that?
It's sort of a 50-50 thing, I guess. So it's the same concept. So the forum would behave more or less the same way. Like it could be linear, or you're going to have folders. Like you go to a place for all the publisher discussions, and you'll have that special connection, which is very linear what we have. But with the new platform, it's going to focus more on more content getting pushed out to you. So you don't have to go hunt after stuff, but more dynamic. There'll be like a question answer. So, like today when you go into a topic for a certain, you can go into an individual game topic for sure. That's the forum. But what you can't do is you can't have a really nice question and answer process. It's all about, you just post, and then it gets over, then it goes 28 posts come after that. And then you go, oh, did you see my post 20 messages ago? I wanted to ask that question. I don't see an answer yet. So there will be services around. There could be regular posts around discussion or replays, but then there could be a special tab that's I've got a rules question, and I want to set it up that way. And once it gets answered, I want to make that the official answer so we can promote it for other users. So there's some little things, little tricks, and better sharing. Get emails or share things by email, and there's just things that you and it's really hard to upload images on the forum today. So there's a lot of like sharing stuff to do with images and files. Right. It's just not very good. It's just old school. So there's a lot of areas we can upgrade, but still keep the overall feel. And then as a moderator, I do want to have better moderator tools as well, which the community has. So that's just something I need as well. And it will serve the community to have better moderation. So what will happen to the talk site is there's no way in hell we can transfer over the data. It's just not going to work. I've already tried looking into that with the various providers. So the form will stay in existence, but it will turn to read-only. It will be a read-only form. You can look up content, but anything new will be from this new talk site.
Well, before Nate jumps in here, I just wanted to make one comment. You're talking about getting to the new form and stuff like that. Obviously, Kev's getting really excited about it because he started taking off his clothes. He's getting all hot and bothered.
Now, wait till we get to the next announcement. Yeah, we're just going to keep having more announcements till we get down to the skinnies.
It's not pretty. So I have a comment about that, and it's one of the things that's sort of driven my lack of interest in the CSW forums has always been the challenge that I have with finding that answer. Because the last thing you want to do is be a guy that turns up and says, "Oh, how do I do this?" Right?
Right.
And was that just the chimes? Did someone just ring chimes?
Yeah, that's me. I've got my wife's coming home and the dogs are going to go crazy.
Good. I was being bloopered by Mo. But you want to go through all the posts and make sure that no one's asked that question before, and it was always hard. So it sounds like having a question and answer thing and then being able to put that into sort of like a digital FAQ is a fantastic idea for facilitating for the designers and the key players and the fans, not having to answer the same question 1,000 times.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, search is going to be 10 times better. I mean, search isn't really working. I mean, it's not really user friendly, but yeah, search, from what I'm thinking as far as a solution, search is very strong. But yeah, the idea is that all the questions will be tagged as questions and organized as questions, and you'll be able to go there and find answers to questions about an individual game. So for those that are just getting into a game, they're going to be able to go to like a library of questions with some designated flagged answers. Like here's the official answer out of the bunch. So that's going to be one of the services out of it. But yeah, basically, I totally agree with Kev. He's 100% right about there's various challenges to the forum for sure. But it's on a technology that's like 20 years old that's only in maintenance mode. So,
yeah.
It's going to be what it is.
You have great fans there, right? They love that type of engagement.
Yeah, I mean, it's people stick with it, and I mean, the history of it's amazing that you can go back to GMT, back to 2001, 2002, or you can go to any individual game discussion. Literally, it could have started 15, 20 years ago, and it's really amazing seeing like a post about a new game's coming out. It's called Great Battles of Alexander from GMT, which was like it was back in the 90s or whatever it was. So it's also it's sort of like a little trip down memory lane as well. Yeah. So and a lot of topics have over 1,000 posts. A lot of individual game topics that are really popular. They have so much content. It's crazy. But you're right. It's a struggle to get to the content, for sure. Absolutely.
So with and I'm sorry if anyone else has a question, but I'm super excited about the community side of things because I'm frustrated with Facebook and all the other social media stuff that's out there. There's so much other stuff that I only go to Facebook for wargaming and to share my content with folks. And so being able to go to a place that the user experience is exactly, I will say 98% just like Facebook, that it's so easy to get into. I'm super excited about it. And every post I've seen from everybody has been positive and great questions, and it's super good start, John. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way it started, we opened it, I think, launched a little over 2 weeks ago. So we did like a VIP launch, which was you guys. So, my idea was you don't want to just launch something new that just has an interface but no content. It's not very exciting. So, Mo and Kev, you guys were just fantastic with getting some content there. And to be honest, I don't expect you to jump in there and do it because you've got limited time and you're already posting to all these places. So I understand, the way the market is, it's just, I think Consimworld community, the one thing we benefit from is if we just have really good loyalty amongst people. Like they really appreciate what we're trying to do moving forward. And you guys stepping in is huge. I mean, it's all about the content, and it is a community site, so it's about the community. So if you guys are part of the community, then the failure's on my side, right? Because if you guys are delivering and it's not working out, then it's on me, as the organizer of it. So, So no, it's been a great start already, and people have been so far it's been universal, but it won't stay that way. I know how things work, but so far universally it's been extremely positive. And we're still in a soft launch, which means we haven't publicly hit all our members. We hit just 2 days ago. We reached out to several thousand people, which are on our social site that's closing down. So I've only done official correspondence to those that are on our social site as members. But yeah, we jumped from like 100 and something members to we're over 450 now in the last 24 hours. Very just as the social folks. I think the social folks are moving over. And yeah, maybe with the Roger McGowan incident, I think a few people, there was a little thread on Facebook that started, and actually Kev was a part of that too. So if Kev says something, he's got a lot of influence, obviously. So that's going to draw people.
I don't know about that, but I've shared the link and just said to folks, look, I'm going to be over here doing stuff. Sure, things will still come into Facebook, but yeah. I'm trying to work out how I can put unique content that's just for your site, right? That doesn't.
Oh, yeah, whatever works for you. I mean, just being there is great, but yeah, maybe it's a chance for you to decide to experiment with some other ideas. What's nice, it's your own group, so everything's organized under your own group. But I can pin something to the main feed as well. So the way it works, if somebody's not a member of your group, they won't see it on their main feed, which to me makes sense because as a member, you want to really control your main feed on the homepage of what content is going to show up, so it meets your interest. And we've already got like 30 groups, so it's off to a great start. But I can also pin, if I see some really good content, I could throw it at the main feed where everybody's going to see it as well. Right. So it's very good controls. And I've learned there's going to be a new platform. What we're on now is getting a major upgrade by end of Q1. So if they stay on schedule, there should be more functionality. And I've just asked them, please let me get an advance warning of what's coming, because I need to know how the community is going to be impacted as far as features or if there's changes. Right. I'm sensitive about everybody having a good experience, and that's why we did like 5 or 6 getting started videos. So for onboarding new members, I want you to know quickly, what's important to know about the community. How can I interact? How can I set up my feed? How do I join a group? How do I follow something? What does it mean to follow something? So we've done a bunch of videos already to try to help people out. And I'm going to do at least one more about how to control your email notifications. So if you get frustrated with too many emails coming, like 10 people liked your post and you don't want to see it, it's easy to configure and turn it off. So, we're trying to make sure everybody feels comfortable at home. And I think it does follow the Facebook model Kevin's mentioning right now. So I think that helps us, that it's something very familiar to a lot of people, which means it's so easy to put an image or a YouTube URL up. It's so easy. I think that's what helps us, that the interface is so something people can latch on to pretty quickly.
No, I gotta say, I think you're on the right path, right? Because when I first started getting in this hobby, I did go over and I checked out the original site, and I grew up with Facebook and Reddit and YouTube and all the other junk. So for me, Consim wasn't that intuitive as the others were. I mean, no offense, but the old school one wasn't.
It's like a Usenet or a Genie is what it's like. Basically.
Right. No bulletin board.
Well,
exactly. It's based on Genie. Yeah, it's a Genie model.
It was a clique that was already formed, right? So it was kind of hard to jump yourself into it. So I stuck with Facebook, and honestly, the only reason I even post anything on Facebook nowadays is just to a link to a video that I put up, and I throw it on the groups, and that's all I put on Facebook. So if I had somewhere else to go to do that and just be done with Facebook, I'd probably just delete my profile because I don't use it for anything else as it is at this point.
Yeah.
So I think this is great. I did want to know, can anyone create a group or?
Yes, on the community, anybody can create a group, and actually it could be a private group as well. The only thing is we're not allowing any political private group. We're not going to allow any of that content, even if it's private. It's not allowed. There's too many other social sites and online destinations for that, and we want to be 100% fully focused on gaming. And not have any site discussions, even if it's private. We're just not going to allow it. There's just too many opportunities today. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add to our charter to do that. It doesn't help the gaming community at all. So, but you can have a private group. I could have a private moderators group. If once I have moderators, I could do something where nobody knows about it. But yeah, you could have what Kev's got, what Mo's got. They've got a public group. where you can join. And then it's great because it organizes all your stuff basically, which is nice. And what's really nice, nobody's probably seen it, is if somebody clicks on your member profile, it's really cool what you can find out about a member. Like everything's separated. You can see every post, every question, every answer, like literally everything a member's done. And it's just a really cool dashboard just to learn about. And then you can follow that member as well. So it's got some really nice things to it. I'm still discovering things about it, even though, I've been really working hard on it for a few weeks. But yeah, Nate, you could definitely like set up your own group, have your own banner image, your own little logo image as well. And moderate it. You could moderate it, and I think you'd really like it. It's really easy. Like it's really easy to use.
Perfect.
As well.
I mean, that sounds exactly like what I'm looking for at this point.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's meant to be easy to use, but then I help people. Like there was 2 people that needed help with their group today, so I helped them out with that. Also, I was going to mention just for you, Nate, just a special announcement for you for Consimworld Forum. I'm going to create a sound audio effect where when you first log in, you get that baud modem sound coming. Connection, just to go back to those days. I want you to feel right at home. So we're gonna add that baud modem, like 1200 bit rate, right? No,
like I'm dialing in.
Yeah,
it takes like 30 seconds, really loud, with the beeps, something like that.
I'm starting to think I offended John with the old school comment.
No, trust me. Everybody, you have even people that like the forum, they will say the same thing. Yeah, the interface it's sort of humorous, it's sort of like inside joke.
I that up for Matt when he said it's like you had to dial into a local bulletin board system is what that is, because that is probably pre your time, Nate, where BBS is, I mean, no offense, it's just they were big 25, 30 years ago they were big, and you probably weren't as big into online stuff at that point, Nate, because you're way younger than us. But
I was 9 at the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
so
easy.
that was the thing, and that's why we're
gonna also do Dixie cups with string that connects the cups with a little Consimworld Talk logo on it.
I did do that.
But here's the thing: are you gonna have floppy disks with the installation thing out of in the stores?
Floppy disk could serve as a little drink holder, maybe. With the I'll definitely do something like that. Probably to just commemorate when Talk goes to read only. We'll probably do some commemorative. Something commemorative to say, and you can still reach Talk. It will still be reachable. It's just you're not going to be able to post anymore to it. But all that content's great, so all the content's going to stay there. There's no way to move it to a new site. There's just way too much content. It's several gigabytes of content. It's just wouldn't work.
If someone took it as a personal project, though, I mean, they would be able to copy paste if they really wanted to sit there and take the time to do it, right?
Man!
Look,
man!
I guess you could get an HTML reader and strip it somehow.
Yeah, there's stuff like that you can do, but in effect, it's gonna be online anyway. So you don't have to do that because it's all gonna be there, and search is gonna work. It's basically gonna work like today. And like I said, it's not happening tomorrow. Like the forum, I still have to invest time on the new community for a while, for the next quarter or so. So even if things work out, I probably won't be able to make the re-platforming happen until summer timeframe at this rate. So nothing's going to happen overnight. But my personal goal would be able to re-platform, by end of April or May, if things go quickly. That would be my goal.
Just in time for CSW Expo, which hopefully will take place in August, is what you're hoping to do, correct?
Yeah, we're going to announce that as well. So we have to do the big announcement for the year about everything going on, about the community, about we always do our annual donation drive, and then the expo. We always announce the expos. So we moved the expo date. We added about 10 weeks of runway. So we moved from June to end of August. It's August 28th through September 4th now. And hopefully that will buy us some more time with what's going on with the pandemic. We'll try to make it happen. And then the Dallas Expo will take a break until March of 2022 because I wanted to use the March date. And I've got Compass Expo that's happening in November. So I've already got 2 big events to host, assuming everything moves forward as planned. I can't bite off 3 events in 3 months. It's just too much.
It's only another event. It's not a big deal.
I'll put you in charge.
You're not that busy. You're not that busy.
Right?
I'll be like Bernie's. I'll have the sunglasses like this, sleeping, because I'll be so exhausted from trying to do 3 events. I won't be conscious during the whole event. I'll miss the whole thing.
Is this going to be virtual or real though? or
everything right now everything I'm doing is going to be real if it's doable. So the guidance I have right now from Arizona is if nothing changes for August, we can hold our event, but everybody is going to be asked to wear face masks at the tables right now. I don't know if the face mask mandate will go away by then, but we'll provide like Consimworld Expo branded face masks for everybody. But I don't know, come August, I have no idea. I can't predict what's going to happen, but that's the policy right now for Arizona and for the hotel, Tempe Mission Palms, is that if it was held today, it would be with face mask at every table. So.
Well, I know a lot of people are
see.
dying to
we got till
open
August,
up and do this. I mean, the hotels are missing. I mean, it's not just. I'm getting an echo. Sorry. Are you guys hearing that, or is it just me?
Just you.
All right, I got a strange echo
It's
there.
those ghosts that everybody's been talking about. The ghosts and the chimes behind you.
No, I know people are. Hotels are hurting. Companies are hurting because they missed out for a couple years on convention money, and not just gaming convention, all conventions. So the sooner we can get back to being live and actually, meeting people face to face, because that was one of the funnest things for me, is actually getting to talk to people who had commented on my channel and interacted with me. Hey, it's nice to meet you, and actually get to meet one of the 10 fans that I have. It was fun. Made me feel kind of like a celebrity for a moment, even though they all recognized my wife before they recognized me.
Well,
there you go.
Well, yeah. Look at you. Look at her.
The virtual conferences.
With a beard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of the virtual conference as well. What Mo's doing, and Harold Buchanan, and Kev's been helping out and doing presentations, and it's great to see what's happening with the virtual conferences, and it's all great stuff. I'm just focused on the in-person stuff right now. And then, of course, my real focus, like I said, is going to be on connecting people online. So rather than focus on virtual events, it's about the community, it's about the forum, just improving our services throughout the year best we can. So,
do you have commitments?
The rest is in good hands.
Do you have commitments already for the August Expo?
Well, people on the forum are saying they're definitely going to be there, and they're thankful that I was able to move it out to August. So, God willing, that they can actually that we can hold the event. Yeah, we've got firm commitments from people that are just pent up, want to be there for sure. So, I don't expect there's going to be for sure some attrition. Like, I don't know with Canadian and overseas travel, I don't know if they're going to be allowed in, if they have to quarantine or not. I don't know if that will get lifted. So we did have a pretty good contingent from Canada, and we've always had about 10 others from other parts of the world. So, I'm forecasting probably a 30% drop minimum, probably just thereabouts. But the core folks who we have a lot, what's nice is for Expo, a lot of folks say 70-80% are always repeat attendees. They like coming back. So I think that overall cadre of folks, unless of course they've got special health issues, I would tell them to stay home. But if they're healthy enough to travel and they feel safe, we should have a strong cadre plus 50% at least. That will be hard commits. And then Arizona itself has 50 people or so that like to show up every year, just local. So
now can I put you on the spot now?
Sure. Yeah.
So I bought a ticket about 8 years ago and I never used it. Is it still good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, that's how Consimworld is. It's just me, right? It's just me running things. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's like there's no department to go through and no 20 moderators, or it's just me wanting you to have a good time. And you would be a special guest. Like if you made it, I would embarrass you probably. I would put you on the spot, and we would have a lot of fun with you actually. So you would be a big draw actually to the event. You would be bringing more people out with you just by saying you're going. So that's for sure.
There you go.
I know you go to Seattle. I know the Dragon. I know you support some great conventions. There's one in Dallas, and I know there's the Seattle one, and there's several others. So we have a group of guys. It'd be a special event to have you. Yeah, that'd be great. I think everybody's gonna be, and if we could pull it off. Yeah, please. Yeah, dying to get in-person tables. Exciting day. I'll be very happy to see people in person.
blah blah blah. Yep.
And actually it's now under the GMT label because Consum Press, I'm surprised he mentioned Consum Press. Even when I was doing Consum Press years ago, it was always GMT Games because GMT's sold it, and GMT's 1,000 times bigger than Consum Press. So nobody ever really said Consum Press to me, to be honest. It was always what's going on with the Hunters and GMT. It was sort of like that. Yeah. Kev's got a game behind him. Yeah, what is that game?
What's the game, Kev?
Oh, can't hear him. He's on mute.
Are you on mute, Kev?
Kev, you're muted.
I got it. I'm here. I'm back. All right, I got it. That is a little homage to you, John, because that is one of your upcoming games, Third World War from Frank.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's taken a little while. That's taken a little while. And
right?
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. It's a standard rules layouts actually starting this week, and then it's we added a second booklet, which is different for the game. Now, since all 4 games have been done already, what GDW couldn't do because they did one at a time, we can treat it differently. So we've got a standard rules, which is rules for all 4 games, plus the combined campaign, and then we're doing the playbook, which has all the specific scenarios for all 4 games and the combined. So right now, the standard rules are done. We had a great project team of 10 plus people. They're all diehard, long-term Third World War. They know the game inside out. It's incredible what they did. It just took a long time to do. But yeah, it's been a huge project. But yeah, it's ramping up. Thank God it's ramping up. So
then right after that is the Fleet series, right?
We'll start with Fifth Fleet. Yeah, that's the next Bukowski effort is the Fifth Fleet will be next. He'll start probably in February. By end of February, we should be started on Fifth Fleet, actually.
How awesome is Bukowski? Is he the unsung hero of game design?
For me, he is. I mean, he's actually my personal, it'd be like my personal favorite designer because he did something incredible I still can't wrap my head around. They threw Operation Typhoon at him, which was a completely different game from SPI. It was very complex, had like 60 train types or whatever, and he basically redid the entire game from scratch. And it ends up being my favorite game of all time. It's like, how did you do that? It's like they threw this thing at you, and you whipped out something that's like it's a lovable playable monster on a great topic. And yeah, play balance is what it is, but it's just perfect. It's just the perfect sweet spot. And he just did it. He got thrown a problem, and oh my gosh, I don't know how he did that. And then of course, great campaigns, American Civil War. I mean, that's what he's probably best known for. Yeah, of course, is that. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've discovered, and because when I first got back into wargaming, we never really looked at wargame designers, or I never looked at wargame designers. Here's a title I like, and okay, great, and then I'd move on to the next one. I went back at some point because I read one of his books and then played another one of his games, and went back through all my games and realized most of the games that I love, or systems I love, are all his. Now,
there you go.
He's done some kind of wonky stuff too, like light division. It could do it with a reimagining, but great idea at the time. But he is a prolific and interesting game designer.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's done and all the books he's done and everything he's done in his private life. He's done some great things, and I'm right there with you, Kev. I mean, we're fortunate to have had him in the hobby. It must have been amazing to be in the SPI offices back in the 70s and early 80s before things turned sideways. Just to have that kind of talent in one room must have been insane. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was one of the things I noticed when I first got into the hobby. Was SPI was held up as like the grail, like the golden era of gaming.
Yeah, and there's people that will counter and say, no, it's Avalon Hill, or it's GDW. It's really GDW. It's a third world companies, and it's just it was a very exciting time. There was less competition for our time and less choices of what games to play. So everybody had something in common because there were fewer games to play. So it's much more challenging these days to get this. Well, we have it with Twilight Struggle and certain games like OCS has a huge following. So there's big followings of MMP is good at that with their series approach. But you're right. It's back in the 70s, it was so different. It was like you were just waiting for that next thing to come. But now it's insane. The output from publishers today is just insane right now. What's happening?
It is insane. Yeah. I'm sure it'll taper off at some point because folks are just going to realize they can't make maybe it's not even a living, but they just can't make it with selling 300 copies.
Yeah. It's crazy right now. It's like,
Well, they're doing
you
the other
can pretty much find anything.
They're doing maybe 300 or 500 copies of game A, but then they're coming out with game B in 6 weeks or something.
Right.
And person who buys game A is also going to buy game B because we all get games because we're going to play them someday.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I like what the Thin Red Line Games has done is really cool. Like how he started. He liked NATO as a topic, and he took Next War and did his own thing with Thin Red Line Games, and he sells out in a week, and everybody's just dying for his product. It's top quality, and there's some great publishers out there that just keep it going. They almost influence what era has become popular in a way. I think Thin Red Lines put more attention on the Cold War just with the quality of the games, and that just helps support other publishers, I think, in that area.
I'll tell you, their stuff was one of the first ones that I ever covered that I was like nervous about covering, because I just got done doing 1985 Under an Iron Sky, and it's because I know it's like such a hard game, such a awesome game, and they put so much time, sweat, and blood into it that I wanted to do justice by it. So I poured over that rule book for weeks. Cool. I was messaging Kev, I was talking to Mo about it, asking questions, trying to make sure I was on the right point, because I didn't want to, if it was just, a game someone had just churned out, okay, whatever, another zombie game, but this is something I know they worked hard on, and I wanted to, give it the type of effort that it actually deserved. And I loved it. I gotta say, they did a great job simulating a lot of new aspects that I hadn't seen used in other games before. Really love the fatigue mechanic, being able to push units a little bit farther, but you get some bad modifiers from it. The way the air war interact with each other, especially with World War III, air power would be the key factor, and it interacts with everything.
How do you feel, Nate? So that's interesting what you said, because I would imagine, like, for folks like Kevin Mo, there's so much pressure to get so much content out. Is it hard just focusing on one subject or one game for like extended periods? And of course you do a great job with it. I mean, I'm sure everybody listening is like, oh, that's awesome that Nate spends that time to, it's like the old F&M magazine issues back in the day. It's like, no, everybody had nothing but time. So they would take 2 to 3 months, and it was the old school way of reviewing games. But today things are done so quickly. I think it's really cool that you actually decided to take the time out to spend several weeks to really get something down. And I know Kev tried the same thing with Desert Fox Deluxe, and of course it went a different direction, because he was more in the wrestling. He was more like WrestleMania mode. He was more like that. Like, what's going to happen off the turnbuckle next with Kev, and it was very captivating watching Kevin just follow his journey.
I was waiting for the command to jump in and go.
But yours was behind the scenes, but Nate, so like I wouldn't know that. So behind the scenes, if I watch like you do a video on that game, I'm not going to know you've poured weeks into it. That's actually interesting to me. Well, so I wonder how much that comes out. I have to admit, I have to see that video now, or how you presented that review.
It's a 7-part series.
There you go. So that gives it away that you put a lot of. Yeah. Well, so you did it in chunks, right?
Yeah, it's about 4 hours of video. All put together.
I think that's a cool approach, though. I mean, if you really find something you like that much, I think that helps the community a lot. That there's somebody out there that can find a way to go deep on something.
Yep.
We still need we need the unboxings, the first looks, like Mo does. Kev does a great job on those, and he does a little quick, like, here's a sample turn type stuff, and here's what's happening, here's where we're at. But I miss the what I miss as a gaming enthusiast is I miss the old F&M articles from like the first 10 issues, where like I just looked at issue 1, the PDF of it, and it was just like 8 pages on Tobruk and all this analysis, and it was so cool to see such in-depth coverage of a game when you've got 100 titles coming out in the meantime today. Like, to spend that time, there'd be 100 games out.
Well, everybody.
Go ahead.
Everybody's got their niche, in my opinion, on what they're going to do, right? And there's plenty of reviewers, so we can all kind of spread out and cover stuff. Yeah. And I'm fortunate enough to have the time to dedicate to sit down with something and stick with it. And when I first got into this, one of the things that I noticed is there weren't as many people who were doing playthroughs. There were a lot of reviews, a lot of unboxings, a lot of short reviews, long reviews, but actually playing it out, there was Callendale. That was it. You know?
Right. And I know, and there was Marco OmniGamer, I think, started fairly early. Marco with his channel.
Yep.
I think he started fairly early with his.
I was watching him, but he was another one. He gave some examples, but he didn't play the game. And I was like, well, screw it. I can play a game. I can film it and play it. Yeah, no, I had no idea what the hell I was getting into at the time.
I'm going to check out your 7-part series because, like I said, I was more worried it was like 1 or 2 videos at most. And like, who's going to know you spent all these weeks on it? I'm sure it would show through in what you did, but it's really cool that you actually, I think, a series approach. I think that's awesome what you did. So,
I'll tell you a funny story. Academy Games, right? Uva.
Yep.
Mo was nice enough to introduce me to him at a convention. We talked and we got friendly. He's like, hey, when 3rd edition of Conflict of Heroes comes out, I'll send you a copy. And I know his wife is, kind of holding him back, like, don't be giving away free stuff all the time, make sure you're giving it to the right people. And they talked to me a little bit, behind the scenes, and I asked them for a couple of small expansions to go with it, and they're like, well, make sure you cover these if we send it to them. Don't worry about it, I got you. Well, I ended up doing a 10-part series on the game. Went in depth, played a very long series, used all the expansions, and after I got done with the video series, Uva contacts me. He's like, hey, do you want this and this and this and this and this? We'll send you whatever you want. And I was like, well, I'm good. I've bought a good chunk of the stuff that you guys have, but I'll take that one, to cover. But if you have anything you want me to specifically cover, just let me know. And it's something I had mentioned to Mo and some others before, that I think you need to put in effort. You need to show your worth to a publisher or to a game designer, to whoever, that you're willing to put in the effort so that they're willing to back you and support you to give you their products. If they're going to give you something, you need to give them something back in return, more than 5 minutes of here's what's in the box, have a good day.
Well, I think you guys are all established, so I'm sure all publishers, if you approach or whatever, however it works, all these publishers are going to know what you guys do. And it's interesting what you say about style, and I think it's great how you do a big investment. But for me, like, it's a style thing. So like, the reason I like watching Kev's videos is he's more impromptu, and it's a totally different style. It's a totally different approach. But I appreciate that somebody can just get on, be really cool. I don't know what the Hollywood personality is that he sort of endears in me, but he just has a very kickback, calm, but he gets pissed at times about stuff. You can see him get frustrated, and like I like the fact that Kev maybe doesn't have to spend all that time prepping, or I'm sure he does on certain things, but he's the type of person I think he could just get on and do a riff, and I would love it. Just he could do a riff, and you've got your light to keep. There you go.
That's Kev's prep right there.
Those will get really interesting. Yeah. And then Mo's different too. Mo and Mo does a lot of outreach. Like, he supports Compass Games with their community online, and our community, Compass Games, and he supports San Diego Historical. And Mo does a lot of stuff too for the community. So I just wonder sometimes. I hope you guys get the are getting the kudos you should get. But you all have your different styles, which I think is great. Like you said, Nate, you have your sweet spot. And then you might move off of it later. You might discover, you're going to go a different direction and feed off others. And I think that's very cool how you guys sort of work together on stuff. I think somebody was asking about the reputation system on the new community, so I didn't want to ignore the question from who was it from Joe on YouTube. Thanks, Joe. So the way reputation works on the community is when you come in as a new member, you have a 0 reputation. So when Kev Sharp joins or Mo, they've got zero cred, right? But it's a joke. So what happens is it's based on content. So as you do certain types of posts, there's different values assigned for if you submit a question, or if you answer a question, or if you earn likes from anybody. All these things earn points. And it's a pretty simplistic system. So like somebody like Roger McGowan, who posts, I don't know, 30, maybe 20, 30 posts a day. He's gonna do one of these things. He's like an outlier. But yeah, there is a systematic process of how scoring works, and it actually helps because what I have to always watch out for as the host is we don't want spammers to set up a new account just to go crazy, on the forum. So if I'm sleeping for 6 hours, I wake up, somebody's created an account and they've just done 100 posts and they're all about go to this porn site or, first that would probably be popular, right? So got to get over that curve. But obviously it's going to be disruptive in some way. So what we do is everybody gets moderated when they first join, and once they earn a certain reputation score, you go off moderation, and your post and whatever you're doing will show up right away. And it's really just done as a service to the community to make sure no spammers are getting in, and their first post is that, it happens on the forum, for example. People do these crazy links, and I have to do it manually. I have to ask people now, tell me about your interest in gaming, and some people don't respond back, meaning they were going to do something about a link to make money. So it's frustrating. So it's nice. It's an automated process, and it's nice to have reputation scores probably, because then you can again, you can see who's contributing, and like I said, a little user tip is click on a profile like Mo or Kev or any member. Nate, Nate, are you on the site already?
I am on the old site, but I was not active
on the
it.
new one. Yeah, when you click on the user's name, it's really cool, because when you click, you can see what the content is that person's provided, and you can follow them. And if you follow somebody, they'll automatically show up on your main feed, regardless of what group they're posting to. As soon as you follow anybody, it shows up on your main feed. So it's a very cool, flexible way to control what content you're getting.
Sounds like a better version of BGG. System.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know BGG that well, to be honest, because I just don't have the bandwidth to look at it. But yeah, I mean, if it's like a lot of platforms are reputation based these days, for sure. So I'm glad they offered that. It's definitely comes in handy for certain things.
Well, I mean, Matt was saying it's going to be set up like high school. Cheerleaders and football players will be at the top.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what it is, what a reputation score is, it's telling you who's contributing content, but also who's earning likes. It's also who's earning the likes. So, just like Consimworld forum, about 85-90% of our audience, they never contribute any content, to be honest. So I'd say maybe 90% of an audience never contributes anyway. But I think it's still nice to recognize people, and then also in the community, you can spotlight certain members. So I actually have spotlighted members, like Mo and Kev is spotlighted right now with their groups that they have. So I can change it up and all that. But yeah, I guess everything's a popularity contest these days if you look at it that way. But I think it serves a good purpose. I mean, you want people to be able to contribute and get rewarded for contributing content. Like Kev said, Yeah.
I don't look at it like a popularity contest so much as just, as you mentioned, it's showing you who's contributing, and if someone's contributing a lot of content, then it's probably worth clicking on to go have a look and see what they're doing, right? Because it's probably good stuff, especially if they're getting likes and things like that. So I think it's
so like if I don't know Kev and if I decide to click on his name because he's got a high reputation score, I'm going to see all his posts and how he posts, and I might decide, I want to follow him because what he covers is what interests me. So so it actually helps people discover, maybe make connections, or what games he's playing as well. That's another good way to connect. So it definitely works out. I think it's definitely a nice thing to have. It's not a must-have, but it's definitely a nice to have. I think feature for the community overall.
Well, I like that idea of hitting a certain reputation point and no longer having to be moderated when you upload something, because that's still a pain in the butt on BGG. Because I've posted hundreds of videos to it. They've never disapproved one, but I still have to get them all checked out before they go up. So I've got that little delay there. So once I've earned the trust, and I'm not going to be posting links to OnlyFans, I can post my stuff up and it's instantly able to be seen.
Right.
That's going to be a nice boon.
Right, and for the community,
you got the robe on, right? Because OnlyFans, you were on OnlyFans before.
There you go. And for the Consimworld community, it's not really building trust. It's just trying to block the spammers. So the effective way we found to do that was, we can use reputation score, set a minimum baseline, and then anybody who hasn't reached it is going to be is going to be moderated. Plus, there's also a setting I have, first 24 hours, you're also going to be moderated. So it just gives me tools to make sure the community won't get disrupted. Without me knowing. Literally, it happens on the forum all the time. I could just be asleep and something will happen, and somebody will spam the site with links to how to make money, selling stuff online. So So it's a real world example use case where you just need some moderation tools at times, and it's meant to benefit the community. It's not a slant against the community at all. It's just to help keep it focused. Well, and I think Kev said it. It is definitely focused right now. So.
Yeah, you have to do that today in today's day and age because there's so much of that out there, and there's a lot of bots that'll do stuff like that, and there are people that'll just look for sites, they'll get in there, and they'll say, I make $37 an hour selling whatever, or working for Google or some BS, and you don't want that in the site because then it's just garbage you got to clean out. People might complain about it. But Dakota 7 asked, do you foresee personal and private groups on like on CSW Talk happening? And you did address that earlier.
Yeah, so basically, just going back to just to give you some background, I've had about 20 years of experience now with the forum. So, and I've also had experience of making decisions like years ago when things obviously didn't work. So I've got certain hindsight as a forum operator that there's certain topics that just don't work anymore at all. And actually, I took action years ago. But I kept certain topics private. So like political, social, sociological discussions, for example, all that's kept private. And the reason it's kept private is I learned years ago, at least 5 to 6 years ago, that it became so disruptive at the time that new members were turned off and longstanding members were turned off by, I can't go to a gaming topic anymore. And to be honest, it's happening today. So Facebook Marketplace, the host had to warn everybody, stop this content. We can't take it anymore. It's just you got to stop. And so it can happen in the most benign, like a marketplace listing topics, the simplest, most focused topic you can think of. You're just selling and listing games you want. But even there, it gets overrun by these discussions and people start hating on each other and the same people, it's always the same people getting into flame wars. I'm like, that just didn't work for the forum. So we changed it years ago and we've kept it private for now. So everything's meant to be kept private. So we don't want to disrupt our gaming. One thing to remember is we're a gaming site. We've always been a gaming site. And then I did allow open discussions, but over time it just didn't work out. And yeah, I've got the proof in the pudding. I know from history I would never go back to that model. This does not work. If anybody wants to try it, they can do it, absolutely. But it just, for me personally, my experience is it doesn't work, at least for the type of community I want to promote. So we'll never get into like private groups about politics or sociological topics. It's not moving the hobby forward when we're a gaming site. We want to talk about games and we want people to, I want people to celebrate their connection, their mutual connection with others about games. And if you want to take it offline and go beyond games about, I see great support. People get cancer, unfortunately, and they need support for cancer. We do outreach, things like that. I say absolutely. We want to be 100% supportive of people, but I'm not looking to host what you can find anywhere on the web today. I could find it. I could find an argument in 5 seconds on any site. So that's not adding value.
Yeah,
to the gaming community.
Facebook is flooded with it, and it happens in the wargamer groups there constantly. Someone will post a benign picture, something that has nothing to do with politics, and
George Washington.
Yeah, someone will find a reason to be offended and start flaming it.
Yeah. And Nate, you can't avoid it. Like, I'll tell you right now, anybody, if Kev or Mo, anybody starts a forum, no matter what rules you have, and this is like in real life, like if you're in education, if you're a leader, I know Kev has leadership roles or what he does. Whenever you work with a lot of people, you're always going to have certain people that don't see eye to eye with you that are going to create problems or just make life difficult. And that's why people say, why didn't you boot people years ago? Like I've booted maybe 10 people in 20 years. Like I challenge any site to stack up to getting, I'm pretty much hands-off guy. I'm pretty easygoing, and I don't like booting people. Like you have to want to be booted to get booted. I've never booted somebody who didn't want to get booted. It's like they wanted to get booted. Trust me. They made it very obvious they wanted to be booted, and they just wanted to go out with some style points. But again, you can't avoid it. So like I can't, getting rid of people or even getting upset about people doing things. There's no point. Oops, my dogs. There's no point to getting upset about it because it's going to happen in any pursuit in life. And anybody who does anything with people, you're always going to have those problems happen. And you're never going to knock it off of a forum. Any forum. You can't even knock it off Marketplace, off Facebook. You can't even do a game sell listing. So it's always going to happen. It's never going to go away. Yeah. And, it's just going to be a constant. So we just have to have our rules, and we try to focus on the positive. Yeah. But it's human nature. There's going to be conflict because it's human nature. And and it's online. You're behind a keyboard. You're not in person at a bar, face to face. So I totally get the conflict thing. It's just it's not for Consimworld. It's never going to forward the hobby. It's never going to support the hobby to help people fight with each other over some viewpoint that has nothing to do with gaming. It's just there's no point to it. There's plenty of sites for that though. So knock your socks off if that's what you want.
Yeah, 100%. Totally support that. I mean, we live in such a hair trigger world where people get triggered so easy over everything. We want to just go and talk about our war games, and that's the conflicts we want to talk about, not what everybody's offense of the day is. We don't have time for that. So,
and I get it today. I get challenged by people, not many people to be honest, but I get challenged like, you're out there in the community, you're online, you have to do these sociological things. You have to make the society better. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm making society better by giving people an escape from this bombardment, this constant bombardment where nobody makes friends end of the day. I think I am serving the community because I respect everybody's private life and personal decisions in their life. There's no animosity. There's no reason I feel to have animosity towards anybody, especially over that stuff. I don't go there. I'm just not coded that way. So I'm just like, you know what? It's just, we're here to support people. And I'm not looking to make a social statement with a gaming site. I'm looking to make a statement that we're celebrating the hobby together, and this is where you go to celebrate the hobby.
Right.
Because you've got plenty, you've got all
without having to break up into mini tribes over nonsense. So
and there's many tribes everywhere.
Tribes in war games. There's enough mini tribes in war games like clipping or no clipping operations.
Yeah, let's talk about serious things. Now, are we allowed to talk about clipping on the site, John? Is that allowed?
And the thing is, people, all this is very serious as a heart attack to people. Yeah. And for that reason, Consimworld's probably not going to be for those people. If you take all this as serious as a heart attack and you can't separate the hobby from this stuff. Yep. And you've just become part of it. That's okay. Like, I'm not going to hate on you or anything. It's just it's just Consimworld's not going to be for you. But the good news is you've got 100 choices out there online to go crazy with what you want to do.
Right.
We're going to go 100% crazy all the time, but it's about gaming, and that's it.
Yeah. Perfect. I mean, we should argue the real important things like, should that armor value be 5 or 4? Should it be a 1 shift right or no shift? Those are the important things that
we can do a whole show. Pick a game. We'll have Nate pick a game in under Iron Sky. He can bring up a problem unit. We can dedicate a whole show to why that unit has the wrong values on it.
Lock and Load Tactical, the Vietnam module, the Marines have far too low of a morale value. Marines' morale is through the roof. It should be a 10.
There you go. See, there's our 1 hour show right there. A big conflict. So
some of them their morale goes up when they get shaken. Realize that, right?
Yeah. They get shaken, they get pissed.
That's your compensation.
There you go.
They shouldn't be getting shaken, though. They should just be getting pissed. They should just flip it and say, not shaken, just pissed.
Yeah.
Shot at me.
The Marines over should just say pissed.
Yeah.
Well, first is when you get shot at, if you're a Marine, it's like, hey, I'm happy. Now we can fight. And then the second is if you get hit, you're like, damn, I'm pissed now.
Oh, that's especially true now with the rules of engagement. You have to make sure that they're shooting at you before you can shoot them. So you hear the rounds coming down range, like, all right, it's go time. Let's do this.
Yeah, but no, that's great. And the best part about it is, for those, I did put the link up there for the Consimworld site, so you can go check it out. And like we said, it is a Facebook like look without all the extra Farmville and all the ads and all the other garbage that clutters.
Oh, I got to add Farmville. I should add Farmville. Let me make a note of that.
Yeah, get that.
It is just wargaming, and it's fantastic. Now, with that said, do you have any plans on maybe having some sort of support for the site financially from publishers by way of advertising?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, we've always had such great support from the community that, and the expo helps a lot too, that, to be honest, I've never thought about the financial stuff so much. To be honest, I've sort of been blessed with, I'm sort of like in a semi-retired mode financially, so things are good. So, money helps for sure, because any money that comes in goes towards Consimworld. But I don't know about ads. That's a good question. I honestly don't know. I'm to be honest, I'm really stuck on like other services that will help community members versus like the platform and advertising. I'm still focused on doing tutorial videos on getting started with the community, what other features can be added. You can do hooks like with databases. Would there be a database solution behind this? Probably not, because Board Game Geek is the database of choice. So there's a lot of there's a lot of, right now I'm sort of in this mode of I've got to see what the big platform upgrade's coming in 2 or 3 months. So that's going to be an impact, what new features they're going to be providing. So right now my focus is more on making sure people feel comfortable getting used to the site, that they feel it's easy to use, that they enjoy it, because again, 2020 was such a tough year. I want everybody to go, oh, I know I can go somewhere and have a lot of confidence that it's going to be no drama and I'll be able to find things. And as we build content, there's a really powerful tagging system. It's like you can't even see it. You won't notice it. But as posts get tags added to it, you can click on those tags and it will actually collect everything for you. So it's amazingly powerful. Like as we add content over like the next month or two, and when we announce and we get members into the 1,000 plus, it's going to be amazing from a content discovery standpoint, I think, as we get going. So I don't know about ads. I mean, we've got ads on the news desk actually. So the news desk already has ads, and I don't think I want ads on the. Mm-hmm. I don't think I want ads on the community. I think ads will just be on the news desk if I had to answer it today.
Well, the other thing too is speaking of money, is the donation drive. You'll be announcing that fairly soon, correct?
Yeah, I should have said for the reputation points, if you send me a check for $1,000, I'll up your points. I forgot to add that answer. That would have been the smart answer, right? I forgot. I had a low hanging curveball and I didn't hit it out of the park. Yeah, for reputation, send me money. But yeah, what we do every year is we ask for support, which goes towards the financing of all the services we have, for all the different services we have. And it's at a $10 or $25 or more level. And if you do 25 or more, there's deeper discounts from publishers. And we usually have around 25 publishers that offer publisher direct discounts. So the whole idea is, if I'm going to give $25 to Consimworld, can I get $25 back in savings by buying from 1 or 2 publishers? And that's our goal. Our goal is, we don't want anybody to be left dry out of pocket if they contribute to us. We want them to get the money back on the backside by saving money from a publisher. And then the publisher loves it because guess what? It's a direct sale. So it's a better profit margin for the publisher to get a direct transaction as well. So
there's a question for you from Sal. Can we start posting links to the CSW community on other groups?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a soft launch. Obviously, I haven't announced it to the members officially, but it's in the nav bars on our sites, even though nobody probably notices it yet. But yeah, you can do. Yeah, absolutely. So please, the reason I had to do a soft launch was I needed to test the system first for a few weeks for load balance, and then just amount of traffic for doing moderating of new members. As you can imagine, moderation is going to get crazy if I had 1,000 people come in at once, and if I had 100 posts every 30 minutes, that would be a little, I could do it. It would just be a little crazy time. So yes, absolutely. You can announce now. And then next week, whenever we announce our fundraiser, when we send the big email blast out, we'll be announcing the expo date. We'll be announcing the new community platform. Then the publishers who are supporting us will announce that, and then we'll go from there and make it up as we go.
So John puts up a softball. It says, Marines, you remember which service you're a branch of? Yes, we are a department of the Navy.
The men's department.
What are we, Nate? The men's department. Thank you. softball, home run ball.
Tried to trick you there. That's good. That's good. You got the audience challenging you. That's awesome.
That one was just too easy.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, what's the link to Consimworld? Actually, if you go to any of our Consimworld sites, let's say if you just go to consimworld.com, which is our news desk, you'll see in the header, you'll see news, forum, and then the new one is called community. So if you just go to any Consimworld site, you'll see this thing called community. And then by the way, it is a closed private site to get in. Like you can't see any content until you actually sign up. So it's literally, you can't see behind the curtain until you actually sign up. And of course you can remove your membership at any time, right? It's not a problem, but it's actually right now it's a closed group completely. That if you want to, and that's done by design. I want people to really check out the quality of the content by first committing to joining, and then they can check it out. And we'll probably start posting to like Kev and Mo, your stuff. We'll probably start posting to certain things on the community site on the news desk in another week or two. So, yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Any other questions, Nate?
I'm just going to be creating my own group when we finish this little chat. Since I have
and
not...
I'll help you. It gets a little tricky getting the banners like centered and stuff. The logo, if you have a logo, I can help you center it and all that. So I'll be glad to help you with that, and I can walk you through it. Definitely a big tip. Watch the getting started videos when you can. They're pretty short. I try to keep them in brief snippets, but they have some good tips in there, which might help you enjoy the site, or at least with the onboarding will help a little bit, hopefully.
That means I got to get a banner.
Yeah, you need
the banner. Getting the banner.
I don't have a banner. I'm so low rent.
Talk to David. He'll get you one.
Yeah, I should talk to him.
Oh, he's got a guy that does them, and he only charges like $5 or $10 for it.
Wow.
Come on, he's a New York, Jersey Yankee. Of course, he's got a guy. He's got a guy for everything.
Got a guy who knows a guy for $2.
Got a guy who knows a guy.
$2.
He's the most mobster guy I've ever met in my life.
I have a question. Tagging. Do you have a discrete video on tagging? Because I believe I'm making a hash of that.
I believe I do. Let me check. Hold on just for a second. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to look at my other screen just for a second, because I want to look at the videos I have that are... The videos to get started are in the right sidebar at the bottom. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's user guide... no, hold on. Yes, it's called How to Follow. And there's also assigning topic tag. So I guess it depends on your question. So if you mean to tag, like to create a topic tag... So like I want Modern War. I've seen you do it already. You've done tags like Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I think I'm doing some of it wrong though. So it's okay. If there's a vid, I'll check it out. I just when I create a post and it's about an era, I want to make sure to put a tag in for that era so that folks can find.
Yeah, you know what? That's the one feature they don't have yet. I asked for a tag cloud or a directory page of all the tags we have in the system, and they don't have that yet. So when you start typing a tag, which is also called a topic, it's a little confusing. It search as you go. So when you start typing a few letters, if there's a match, it's going to show you the match. But a little tip: if you go to the popular topics area, it's off in the left sidebar. It's underneath your groups. There's something called topics, like all topics. If you go to all topics, it's top left sidebar, actually, at the very top. Yep, right. You see under groups, there's something called all topics, third one down, right there. If you go there, now go to games by era. And if you go to games by era, you'll see on the right sidebar, you'll see what tags have been set up. Those are the different periods we've set up so far. I can add others, right? So this is just the start. We're just in our third week. But I sort of borrowed from the tagging we had in the forum. We broke out our Consimworld forum by eras, actually. So we've done sort of the same thing here. So if you start typing like Cold War, if you start typing COL, you'll see Cold War show up, and that will create that. And you can see. Exactly. And then it shows you everything under Cold War. So you can actually start scrolling and everything. There you go. So since you tagged something as Cold War, it's going to show everything you did and anything anybody else did under Cold War. That's the cool part, because now I can discover content, anybody doing anything under Cold War, not just Kev, but anybody. There's another person right there, right? There's Mo. Mo did a tag of Cold War too. So that's the beauty of the system, that you can just start discovering content as you go.
Well, that's nice, because you don't have to just break it down along those lines, along eras. You could break it down by publisher or who reviewed it.
Yep, we've done that already. You can do it by game title. We've done it like OCS series, BCS series. So obviously what's really cool too is you can create the tags as a member. So I'll do a little oversight of it. Like if it's a duplicate entry, I'll clean it up. I'll go in and add. I even go in and add tags, because tagging. Not everybody's doing tagging, but I'm happy to do it. At the current volume, I can do it. It's a one-person job right now, so I can get through it. But yeah, it's really cool. You can create your own tags as you go. Absolutely. So you can get as specific as you want.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. So it's a very.
That's why I want to check, because I think I've been using WW2, either the numeral or the.
Yeah. And I can change it. I've changed it before. Like I've done it as World War II spelled out, but I can easily change it or edit it as an admin. So it's really like you don't have to do it if you just tell me, oh, I think I did this, rather than you spend 5 minutes dealing with it. I can change it faster on the admin side. I can switch it over.
Okay, cool. Wonderful.
But thanks again for contributing. Like I said, I think everybody, everybody's pretty excited about the content on there already. And it's interesting too, the community site actually sort of tries to incent people to ask questions as well. Mm-hmm. It's like part of your onboarding is to ask a question. So we have a ton of interesting questions already on the community that people are answering. And I'm trying to pick like four questions at a time as trending questions, just because there's probably like 15, 20 questions already out there. But they're really interesting questions. There's been some really good ones on there. So
Matt was saying that he thinks Nate mentioned something about his link to his OnlyFans page earlier in the show, as if we need more incentive to join the CSW community. If you notice on the CSW community, there is no hashtag for OnlyFans.
I'll take care of that.
Not yet. Not yet is the key phrase, right? Yeah, so you can make the community what you want of it. So it can definitely bend towards organizing content the way you want to organize it, and then I'll help in the back end make sure everything lines up. But yeah, so far it's been going well.
So what new games has everybody gotten in? I know, John, you always get a bunch of different games in, but you don't often get to play. But let's see what you've played, the latest game that you've played.
My latest game that I've played would have been Awful Green Things from Outer Space with my son. Sorry, it's a hit and giggle. It's a hit and giggle game, but I'm actually getting my son into board games this year, and the plan is I think it's shipping in April. The master plan is we're going to play the 1974 original edition of John Edwards' Russian campaign, because it's much simpler rules and it's really going to be nice components. So we're going to start with that, and then we're going to graduate to the GMT Consimpress version, which is all the bells and whistles thrown in, the advanced, like the advanced version, and bigger maps, 2 full maps, and a lot more counters and a lot more going on. But we're going to start from the baby Russian campaign to the manly Russian campaign. So I think those two titles should get my son totally there to manhood when he's done. That's awesome. That's the plan. That's the plan.
How old is he?
He's 13. Yeah. Oh, perfect. So he's been doing a lot of PlayStation stuff, and he likes he does a little screenwriting. He's getting into screenwriting a little bit now, so he's going a different direction. But he's going to play some board games with me just to keep the old man happy, hopefully.
Nice. Hey, that's the least he can do. You put a roof over his head, food in his mouth.
Well, he kicked my ass in Green Awful Things, actually, anyway, so it's not like I'm dying to play with him because he's going to embarrass me anyway. So.
No, that's good. But, I mean, the main thing is you're playing with him, you're getting him introduced to it, and it's the rite of passage. You're passing it on to your son, and then who knows? Hopefully he'll get bit by the bug and he'll continue.
And then I could be playing this next, right? So I could do this one next. Right?
Oh
no, I'm actually an SPI collector. I like bookcase box games, and I don't think I had this one, so I don't think I'd ever play this, to be honest, guys. But
really,
I'm not a big modern air combat tactical guy, unfortunately. So yeah, but this is my latest eBay thing right here. So, but I don't think I'm going to be playing Air War, sadly, anytime soon.
So what is your preferred era to play?
You know what? I'd say my favorite all-time game, which I answered Kev's question about on the community, was Flat Top. Has been my all-time favorite gaming experience. It's Air Naval, right? But I played it in the 90s, and it was a very memorable gaming experience we had around the gameplay. But I'd say Flat Top was probably the best game session I've ever had that went till 6 a.m. So imagine, if you will, caffeine at the odd hours and never stopping, and what happens when you discover the other person's task force, and you can send out strikes, and we were screaming at each other, quite literally in the middle of the night. It was fantastic. So Flat Top's been a lot of fun to play, for sure.
And you're a big fan of Operation Typhoon too.
Yeah, Typhoon's my favorite game. So by far my favorite game's Operation Typhoon. I've played it several times, but I just like simple playable monster games that aren't too overly complex. I appreciate the complex games, but I haven't had the chance to really to try them yet, unfortunately. I'd like to get into more complex games, to be honest.
Thunder in the East. Highly recommend.
Victory Point Games.
Yes.
Yep, Victory Point. That would be an interesting one for sure. I actually bought the from Diffraction Entertainment. I've got Barbarossa, right?
Oh my god.
So here I am buying Barbarossa when I have a 10x10 office space and no gaming table to use, right? So that makes a ton of sense, right?
That's what your walls
so
are
you can
for.
see how that
Magnets.
you can see how that collector mentality of one day I'm going to have a table sort of comes into play. But yeah, it's a pipe dream. Basically, I'm living the pipe dream at this point.
What about you, Nate? What have you gotten lately and gotten to the table?
Damn, it's like every Kickstarter I had ordered over the past couple of years suddenly decided to arrive all at the same damn time. Not as many war games, but I did get Tainted Grail in, Dice something, Adventures, Bloodborne, the board game came in. A lot of cool minis in that one. What was that one from GMT? Carmageddon?
Yeah. What was that? Carmageddon?
Was it Armageddon something? Carmageddon? It's the battle racer one. You know what I'm talking about? I bought that one from my local store because I'm trying to support them, buy something from them each month just to, help keep the doors open. So that's been keeping me busy. Black Seas, I've been building all the ships from that one. So I'm going to have that to the table here soon. And of course, as some of the people in the comments have pointed out, I am currently filming Aliens Colonial Marines. Although I didn't do as Mo did and paint them. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to get those painted since I'm painting the Black Seas ships. But the mission's really cool. The APC is definitely OP as hell. So
nice.
Yes, you will enjoy it. It is a fun little game, especially
Apocalypse
tied
Road.
into the movie. Apocalypse Road, that's it. Couldn't remember the damn name. I kept thinking of Carmageddon, like the PC game.
The computer game, yeah.
Yeah, the wifey just guessed that one, but she was talking about how it looked fun and she would enjoy playing it, so she's going to play that one with me, probably during the downtime of the baby.
What about you, Kev?
I'm starting turn 2 of Next War Vietnam. That's a brain burner. All the naval stuff is doing me in. I've got a learning game of Quatre Bras with the La Bataille system going. That's just painful, but interesting. And I've got a couple of vassal games I'm playing just with friends, just doing the thing. But nothing complicated.
Yeah,
I got
That'll be,
War.
I just got that in too, but I have not played yet.
And that one arrived too. Devil Boats.
There you go, Tony. He was just asking if anyone was going to cover Devil Boats.
Yep.
That's from Compass too, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And that ties into something that I have asked before if anyone's going to do it. And if no one else does, I may just get a wild hair up my ass and do it myself. I would like to see, based on this type of system, I would like to see someone do a PBR game, something with the Riverine forces in Vietnam. I think that would be really cool to have those gunboats. Yeah. I think it'd be kind of neat to have that, sampan interdiction and cutting off supply lines and stuff like that for the NVA up the rivers and inserting SEAL teams or whatever. I think that'd be kind of neat to do something like that. I think it would create a really interesting narrative. Yeah. And I just think it would be really cool. And I'm waiting for someone, probably Greg Smith will do it, to do a ground forces one, like a SEAL team, a LERPS or something like that in Vietnam, like he does with the Hunters, and to do it with a team where you have a team of guys and you kind of do the same thing. You make decisions, you roll on tables, and have it almost be like Ranger was, but without the need to draw out on the maps and stuff like that. But you'd follow those similar tactics and all and things like that, because he did Tank Ace that he did, and that's going to be coming out this year from Compass, and switch it from vehicles or from subs or from planes down to the ground. That's the next evolution, I think, for him. Hopefully he'll do that.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool idea, actually.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of neat. But that, and then the next one on the table for me is going to be an Attrition of Souls, which I've been wanting to get on the table, and I just haven't had a chance to yet. And I do have to get Aliens Another Glorious Day on the Core on the table, because I've had the minis on the other table while I was painting them. So
it's a fun game. You'll like it.
Is it good gameplay from that? I've seen because I'm subbed to the thread, because a buddy of mine is a big minis gamer, and he's in there, so I see all the posts, but it seems like a lot of bitching about the rules, or is it just people working it out?
I think the problems are from the rules themselves, the way they're written out, they're not as clean as they could be or as clear, and there's some ambiguity there,
Right.
which leads to confusion. And it's like, okay, I'm going to play it as the rules state, and then as I go along, I want to make notes going, yeah, that sucks, change it to this, or yeah, that makes sense, or whatever. And then I'll just probably start house ruling my own stuff that would fit more to the gameplay than following along the rules, unless they come up with something that corrects it. Like, for example, there was a thread on BGG about, okay, you got 3 Marines and you've got Newt, and she's the closest one to the aliens. Which one are they going to attack? The rule is, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, they've got to go at the nearest target, which would technically be Newt, but she's supposed to be hidden or something like that. So they wouldn't notice her. She's not a threat to them. The Marines are the threat because they're shooting. So they would go after that. At least that's the way I would, thematically, that's the way I would.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you're definitely right about that, because the rules also state, I'm assuming you've got the expansion packs for it, like...
Got the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So with the APC, they say treat the APC as a character, but then I've had in some of my videos covering it, people questioning the sight lines. And I was basically like, look, I'm just treating the APC as a whole character, so just depending on where you're drawing the sight line from. Like, the front turret can only hit the front stuff, but the back turret can hit damn near everything. And when you have all the characters in one APC like that, I found that if you put a couple of people on the gun turrets and the rest in repair sections, between the shooting that they do and the repairs on the off chance that you get hit, the APC is almost indestructible. Right? Because you can quickly do rest actions with your characters to get back all the cards from all the shooting actions. So the fact that you're having to burn 3 cards each time you shoot doesn't really matter. You're getting them right back into your endurance deck. And on the off chance you do get hit, you usually have at least 2, if not 3 Marines that can take tech actions to attempt to repair it. So I found the APC to be very OP in that mission. But there's only one mission that you really use it for, and it's not one of the main missions, not one of the 5. So it's not that big of a deal, but it is kind of a niggle.
Yeah.
Good game. So it's fun.
That's where, and then the other thing too is that some people are complaining about the deck. The deck of cards. How you, like you were saying, you can rest and get your cards back and things like that. I can see where some people can complain about that. But the other thing too is I get the Aliens RPG, so I can always see what parts of that I might be able to incorporate into the board game and kind of make my own little mashup. Because that's why I was like, well, I'm getting an RPG anyway. And I'm not an RPG guy, but I got that. And I got Twilight 2000 that's coming in, because both of those really seem to fit my taste.
I'm so pumped for Twilight 2000.
You got the Twilight 2000, and I think we can do some online sessions of that and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And same with Aliens. I just have to sit down I have to get to it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Oh, I did want to mention, a little off topic, you had some people who were asking about this the other day, Mo. The Dogfights Aerial World War I Kickstarter. Some people in that other video chat you did were asking about it, and if anyone backed it. And I actually did back that one. So that one should be delivering here soon. So I will have videos covering that here in the next few weeks whenever it actually does arrive. But it looks fun. And I got that in. David sent that to me, and I have not had a chance to play it yet.
Where's the guys? Where you get all these free games?
David Lexus.
David sent it to me.
Well, I got the game. I got him the game, and the other game that's coming out soon too. So,
you guys, aren't you special?
Well, to be fair, I mean, how many boot camp videos have I put out for Block and Load Tactical?
Dude, I tell you what. However many boot camp videos you've done, I've done 5x game AARs videos. Don't even talk to me.
But let's being that we're talking about AARs and stuff like that, we're talking about, someone was saying earlier that Kev is the voice of the voiceless, and John even said about how Kev does his own style. Well, let's talk about brief Border Wars real quickly, being that we have John on from Compass, and how you were like, at first you were like, man, you were like, no, this is, and then you're texting me, you're like, dude, I don't get it. And you kind of, the first video, you just were like, blah. And then I talked about the game, talked you through it a little bit more to look at it from a different perspective. And you're like, all right, I'll try it again. And then you tried it a couple of times and you're like, now it totally clicked. Now I get it. Okay, you were right.
I picked the wrong scenario, right? I picked the wrong scenario to start with, and I tend to do that a lot. But I'm also getting a little. I've noticed I'm getting cranky in my old age.
I was gonna say you're already cranky.
Oh God.
Older age.
Hey, listen, punk. Just shh, son. So a beard doesn't make a man. So. I think that I've been getting particularly frustrated with setup instructions. That seems to be like a common theme for me the last 3 or 4 games where I've just been read through the rules, go, okay, I think I got it, and then boom, you start to set things up, and you're like, what is going on? Like the poor old GMT's Time for Trumpets. I mean, I love the gameplay because I played it with Bruno. It's a fabulous game, but setting up was just a shoot me now. I packed it up, so it's just really super disappointed. I had like I was almost as hyped for that game as I was for Desert Fox Deluxe, because I did a 45-minute introduction, unboxing, look at all the maps, how fabulous this is going to be great, and then it just all went down the toilet bowl. Terrible.
But
the funny thing is,
Border Wars was easy. It was
it was
setup.
straightforward. Yeah. I'm just a moron. Sometimes things just don't click for me. Sometimes I'm a little slow.
It's called Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I know, it's still being dropped on your head too many times.
Well, the thing was it was Brian Train, and like you had pointed out, which is very true, Kev. Brian is not a kinetic guy. Right. He's not really big into that, and this actually is very kinetic. But there's also that the movement and stuff like that does, you have to look at differently. So once you get into that, it makes sense. But I think your problem is you suffer from vassalitis. You get into Vassal, you just like, I want to play a scenario. Boom, it's set up for you. There's no setup. So now you get grumpy when you have to set up anything.
Yeah. No, I don't know about that. I don't do it. I don't do enough Vassal to have that as a legitimate issue. I have other issues, but that's not the issue.
Shit.
That's not for the topic of tonight.
Man, 1985 took hours to set up. All the little counters, figuring out exactly where they were going, how many spaces, what was still inside. Man, I love monster games, but setting up a monster game is a huge pain in the ass.
Sure, but I tell you what, it was easier to set up Case Blue and GB2 combined than it was to set up Time for Trumpets or Under an Iron Sky, right? I mean, like I'm actually not a fan of Under an Iron Sky's AA counters and all the little bits and pieces that float around with that game. I think that could have been handled differently. Still a fabulous game, and I'm a total fanboy for the Thin Red Line games. There's no question about that. But I think it could have been done differently to make it easier for folks just to get started, right? And want to get playing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I mean, how would you streamline it?
Well, there's a lot of fixed place units that are anti-aircraft SAM sites and stuff like that. There's no reason why you couldn't either print them on the map, because they're fixed emplacements, right? So you could print them on the map.
But are they fixed emplacements for each scenario?
They're fixed emplacements, meaning that they're fixed in place.
Permanent.
Like,
they're permanent.
Yeah, no matter what I'm saying is, like, no matter what scenario campaign you play, they're going to be in the exact same spot.
They're always going to be there every time, right? Yeah. And so you could add a rating or something to each zone that they're in or zone they cover. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he looked at all those things. I just, Monday morning quarterback, right? Just saying.
I don't think there were that many, though.
The other key, too, is how do you have that broken down? How do you have it stored in the game? Because that, I really do believe in, is a big thing in setting up a game faster and easier.
I've got it sitting here right now. I'm getting ready to set up and play the campaign with one map from Deadly Northern Alliance. I'm going to do Denmark section.
Nice.
So I'm looking and going, oh, man. That's a work, right?
So break it down by nation, and then break it down by unit type, and then keep the specific unit types together, right? Mm-hmm. So like all the Soviet stuff together, and then all the Soviet jets together, and then each type of jet kept together in your counter tray.
Yeah.
Makes it so much easier. I was able to set it up relatively quickly because when I clipped them I organized them, broke
Good
them down
dude.
by type.
You're a champion.
Hey, it worked out well when I went to actually set the damn thing up, because if I hadn't done that, it would have taken me days to set that damn thing up.
So,
I don't know if
Tom,
my mic's working right now, Mo. Can you hear me okay?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, my headphone went out, so something
okay.
happened, but I'm glad my mic's still working. Yeah, so Flat Top, yeah, it's definitely highly recommended. It was first released, I think, by Battleline, or maybe it was Yakito. Kev could probably correct me on that, but yeah, Avalon Hill version's pretty popular of Flat Top, and yeah, it's definitely worth the effort. But you want to have players. It's not going to be like a solo. It's not going to be a solo experience unless you want to study. Unless you want to study the game system, because it's all about hidden intelligence in the game.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yes, Western Front Ace will have about 200 planes. That's about right. I lost track of the number. It's a humongous game. It's by far and away Gregory Smith's biggest game he's ever done to date. Will be Western Front Ace. It's crazy big. So yeah.
And then Matt has a really good idea for wargamers that want to have a little part-time job. You can hire somebody to set up your games while at your work.
Oh,
So anybody who's a wargamer
go.
looking for a little bit of a side business, there you go. I will come to your house and I will set up your game while you're at work. It'll be ready for you when you get home.
Just don't touch my wife. I've got 2 kids. I can't even get them to put my games away, let alone help me set them up.
Mm-hmm.
2 kids in the house. But
I'm just happy my kids don't mess with my stuff, because they love the idea of running in, going up to my table where I've got the tablecloth covering it where the games sit on, and they want to grab that tablecloth and pull. And I was just terrified when 1985 was set up that they were going to come in and yank that thing down, and I was literally going to cry if they knocked that on the floor.
oh wow, that is bad.
Yeah.
So outside of the Russian campaign, John, what is the next game that you want to play, that you want to get on the table, whether it's playing solitaire, playing with your son, or whatever, that you really just want to show out?
I'll show this one since I feel like an advertisement tonight. So here's my favorite. This is my favorite game right here. So by far, and it's by Bukowski, which Kev mentioned. So interesting history behind the game. Definitely interesting history behind the game. But what game would I want to play after Russian campaign?
Yahtzee.
That's a good question. I think I haven't done a Napoleonic game in a long time, so I'd lean towards La Bataille probably, or I've always wanted to do Battles for the Age of Reason from Clash of Arms as well.
Oh, wow.
The bar series, like they're all big games though, right? So the challenge is, I think there's one small game they might have, like Prague or something, but yeah, I'd like to get into more complex games is really what I'd like to do, but I'll probably have to do it on Vassal. Is probably how it's going to have to work out. But yeah, I'd like to do some more complex games probably.
So Vex says, I need to hire someone to keep my cat from destroying the games that are in process. And it's like, that's very true. You have the Titans in the movies, the Godzillas, the King Kongs, all that stuff. And at home, you have the War Game Titans, the cats.
Exactly. Exactly.
Get one of those invisible fences. Put it around your game room. Put the little collar on the cat. Problem solved.
Well, electronic zing.
Yeah.
Now that'd be torture.
Oh, look at this. We have a comment from the Peanut Gallery, Linda Erico, saying, would you trust someone in your gaming area? LOL. No, honey, I would not trust you in my gaming area. That's my wife. So she's coming in here to bust my chops.
Awesome.
Using her maiden name.
That's Mrs. Mo.
When you call her honey for a second, all I was thinking was, man, here comes
a whole bunch of trash now.
They're gonna go to town.
Misogynist, sexist son of a bitch.
I'll be damned. I'm surprised. I thought Mo was making her up this whole time. I didn't realize she actually existed.
It was a bot. I'm really good at coding, so I just coded it up and boom, there you go. Now I'm legit. And Charles was asking, have you played it on Vassal, John?
I'm not sure which game he's referring to, but I can give a pretty safe answer. I haven't played a game on Vassal in a while. So if it's a flat top question, or if it's about the La Bataille or bar, I haven't had a chance yet to do that on Vassal. But that's how I'd have to do it, to be honest, just given my setup at home.
I don't know. I've never grown accustomed to Vassal.
I've played Wellington's Victory. I've played that obviously a long time ago in Arizona, back in the 90s, when I had a gaming club in Arizona at the time. But yeah, Wellington's Victory is a great game. I'm actually waiting for the New England Simulations Winter's Victory ELAO game. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that one I can't wait for.
Have you played the new Wellington's Victory, John?
No, I've heard it had a lot of problems though. Through the grapevine, I don't want to dish a game, but I heard there were actually some problems with it, unfortunately. But I haven't come across a very positive review of it yet that I've seen, which is too bad. I wish.
Back to that. I gave up on it at one point, but I'm going to cycle back to that. I'm actually going to come back to that Desert Fox thing as well.
Are you really? Wow, that's awesome. We'll support you. We're gonna set up a support group for you, Kev, on the community. And I feel guilty because I said it's probably a really good game because I know the original Desert Fox seemed really good, and the designer notes were like 50, 60 pages. They're like really impressive. I go, how can the game not work if the designer notes are like the most impressive designer notes?
The best part of
the effort. And it's a sad story. I think Chris Perello admitted to me he doesn't want to design games anymore after that experience, that it was such a...
Wow.
He was so upset about what happened in the end that he's swearing off designing. I've tried to get him to do games for Compass, but he won't take my calls. So
is that...
trying to get Chris Perello back.
Is that because of consumer feedback, or is it because of the way that it was managed by DG, or if you're able to, or you want?
I'm not sure I can. He got some negative feedback from not customers, but somebody closer than a customer that probably just made him feel like. That's why I approached him for Compass, because I felt like if he felt he had some challenges, and I'd love to see him continue publishing or designing for Decision, but I thought maybe it was a situation where he needed to try a different publisher for a break, and then not for him to leave Decision, but he was very upset. I felt bad, and I'm still trying to get him. I'm still hoping maybe one day because he did a Fateful Lightning, which I think a lot of people liked a lot, actually, from Command, that it was really well received. So I'd like to get him back designing again. And again, I really appreciated and admired his designer notes. I can't believe his, I don't know, Kev has it, the designer notes to Desert Fox Deluxe. They're amazing.
Look, I think there's some fascinating and interesting ideas in that game system. Yeah. I just don't know that it got the robust playtesting and development that it needed. He needed people to say, "Oh, gee, there's an issue here, or we should think about that, or how will this impact this?" And that there were lots of, and besides just the laziness which has nothing to do with him, the laziness on the proofing and things of that nature were very, very slow. But,
I mean, I'd love to see Desert Fox done right, where it could be where you would play it and say everything works, and it could be a fantastic game experience end of the day. But it sounds like it's not there, which is really sad. And then I don't know who's willing to do another edition of it. I mean, it could be done with your fixes probably, but yeah.
Who was Dakota 7? It's like the 13th joke he's cracked.
Well, he is asking John, if Kev was a wrestler, who would he be?
If he would be, who's the guy that goes, what's his name? He goes woo all the time, right?
Nature Boy Ric Flair. Nature Boy Ken Sharp.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Ric Flair would pull out the drinks. He has that style and panache like Kev has. He would be like right here.
Oh my God!
Martini glass.
I wanted to be Ruddy Piper.
He was good. I like Rowdy. He was great too.
No,
he was really good too. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about sorry. This is all in the 80s, Nate. Sorry.
Look, I've seen the movie They Live, okay?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
They Live?
You have to see it.
They Live.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. Has the one where the guy wears the sunglasses and he can see aliens. He goes into the bank with a shotgun and says, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum."
Chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Yeah. I actually put that scene in my review series on Thunder in the East.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I made a little joke of it.
Nice.
I love that one to the gaming table at a face-to-face convention one day. That'd be good. Dusty Rhodes, Vince McMahon. Yeah. They think Kev would be like Vince McMahon.
Wow. Kev seems like he would be a great wrestling manager, and then somebody else said Vince McMahon.
Okay, so he'd be a manager, so he'd be part of the C-suite.
Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, what about what's that guy that had the really attractive assistant?
Oh yeah,
Savage?
Elizabeth.
Randy Savage or something?
Randy Savage. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had the sidekick girl.
I'd like to have his physique and that girl.
I ran
Man,
my
yeah.
out of the ring real fast.
Well, this
Get it
show
over
just took
with.
a quick left turn.
Yeah, really. Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
hey, you got to go to our Compass town halls. This is nothing compared to. This is not even the blinker being on to take a left turn.
Oh wow! My wife coming in with another question. Where do you see the future of war games heading in order to draw in more people?
Well, honey, here's the deal.
Exactly. Well, honey, if you want to play war games, I know a guy that can teach you. But that's well, first off, on a personal note, is that you saying you want to play more war games? Because every time I say, "Hey, look what I got," you're like, "That looks too complicated."
Hey, maybe she wants to play some strip war games.
Wants to play Air War. So
There you
she's
go.
gonna play Air War with you right here. I'll give this to your wife if she promises.
Air and armor. There you go.
Little Top Gun action. Never heard.
There you go.
So-
Yeah, everyone loves Top Gun.
Where do we see the future of war games headed in order to draw more people, John?
Well, I think what you guys are doing, obviously, right? So it's already happened. It's already happening. You guys are drawing in more people. The virtual conferences help. The YouTube videos help. Everything you guys are doing, that's the way we're connecting now, at least at this time. So, I think there's a lot of games getting published as well. Obviously, we all benefited from Board Game Geek and the whole board gaming craze. We've got crossover designers who do Euro games coming into more of the historical games as well. So I think it's a very bright future. I don't see anything really slipping up to create problems. I think the only problem right now is postage prices are probably costs are getting a little bit harder, but we've got Vassal, I guess, around that one. So yeah, I see more silver lining than anything right now,
Well,
given
here's-
all the content contributors and things going on to support the community.
Here's a spin-off on that same question, and then I'll hand it over to the guys. Looking at it from both a content provider like yourself with Consimworld, as well as from the production side with Compass from the publisher side, how much of a bump do you see, or do you know of a direct bump due to content creators putting out content on specific games? Do you actually see bumps when people put out videos on games and talk games up and stuff like that, or do you not really notice that?
It depends. So if it's somebody who has a big viewership like you guys, it should create a bump. It depends who's doing it. So it's really the content creator is adding value to that. So I say it's really rests with you guys because nobody's going to listen to a publisher. Like, I don't know why anybody would listen to me or anybody, because we're the publisher, right? So it needs to come from you guys. And although sometimes I guess sometimes people are like, no, the reviewer got the game for free. They're not going to say anything bad about a game. I think everybody's pretty honest here, and they're going to say how the game could have been better or something. So, but it depends. It depends on who's doing the, and that's something I spend a lot of time with Compass on is, who can we get games to do unboxings and things. I think Bill had a really bad negative experience a while back where he just didn't want to give stuff out anymore because he got burned by, just somebody promised the world for coverage and it was a lead balloon, didn't go anywhere. And that just really hurt him, I think, on a personal level. So he's come around a lot, and he knows there's a lot of value in the online stuff for sure. And he's it's looking better. So definitely helps. Some games do it on their own, like Stellar Horizons. Some games will go out of the chute and they'll just take off without anything.
Oh,
Depends on the game.
that one's on my.
Who the designer is. If the designer is somebody who really does a good interview, that's made a big difference. I've had some really good design interviews done where that actually did something to orders. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but it starts with having you guys as a starting point for sure. Absolutely.
I've been working with Thin Red Line Games, and we were talking about how he should go talk to other folks to do more promotion, but he just doesn't want to do more than 750 or 500 or 1,000 copies. And we've been able to track orders post interview, post article, post video, and it's you can see it might only be 10 orders, right, per post, or it might be 20 from a video. Shrink Rip got some for him, but I think we have a very casual approach to it all, and it's hard for a publisher to know who to use or how to use all the content creators, because there are a lot of fantastic content creators. And anytime I see a new one, I want to talk about them and make sure that they get, their first 100 subs or whatever it is, so they keep on with it, right? Because we want to have the more the merrier. But then when you look at it as a publisher, well, how do you choose, right? Because you don't just want to go to. I know there's some groups that do it professionally, and there's crews of people that make it all happen. But individuals like myself and Nate and Mo, we're just three guys and the dog doing our thing. So it's hard to know that you could or should want to use us or engage us, right? I've never had anybody reach out to me and say, "Hey, will you do a review of my game?" Other than the big like Phalanx, and because they spam everybody for Kickstarter. So you've got to kind of build a relationship with people like Nate has, and I love Dave too. I'm joking about Dave not sending me stuff. I'm just giving him a hard time. But when you get free stuff, that does put an obligation on you as well. So like, okay, now I have to do something, right? So it's a challenge.
See, there's a good thing here. Vex says, if we're influenced by one of the YouTubers to buy a particular game, should we put "I bought this because of Mo" in the order notes or such when ordered direct? Absolutely. Always put in there, you got it because of Mo.
Yeah.
No, not Mo.
You can do that.
Yeah, even if Nate did the video, just do that. It'd be awesome.
I do get a lot of emails for Compass where people say bought because of XYZ. So it's nice to see that. I know we can do URL tracking and all that crazy stuff. I don't do it all that much, to be honest, but we do get feedback from customers saying this was great, what this person did. So absolutely, we know it makes a difference. And like I said, Bill's come around from that bad experience years ago, and Bruce, Mo I know Mo interviewed Bruce. I think Kev had talked to Bruce Maxwell.
Yeah,
we all did.
Oh, great! Yeah. Made around. Yeah, thanks for doing that. That's awesome. And
I wasn't on.
Yeah, that's great.
No, but you're right. I am actually talking to Bruce. I had a chat with him, and we're going to do Air and Armor. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, he's done a great job with NATO. It's a much different game than the original Victory games, and it's going to be. It's really going to be good.
I actually mentioned this to David before, and I think Bill probably, like you said, is learning in it. Is to having that relationship with YouTubers and online bloggers, vloggers, whoever they might be, is a good thing, because it is much harder to be overly critical of someone that you know personally, that you've shook hands with, you looked in the eye, you've talked to them, whatever the case may be, like you've actually interacted with the person. Now, I'll still be honest, but I might not be brutally like just tearing the guy apart. If I'm upset with something, but I'll point out the things that I don't like. You get what I'm saying? So I think it is a good thing for the publishers to, hey, reach out, pick a few, and they can't sponsor everyone, obviously, because there's plenty of us. 20, 30, 40, however many guys are out there actually doing this stuff. Obviously, Bill can't reach out to all of them, but I think it is a good idea to cultivate a stable of 2 or 3 that you do like, that you get along with, you can work with on a regular basis. Because David was the first one that reached out to me, and I'm very loyal to Lock and Load because he's the one that gave me my chance. He helped me get equipment. He helped me get software. He helped send me a whole lot of games when I first started out. Like,
that's awesome.
He saw potential, and he decided to help cultivate it so I could grow, and it paid off for him. No, I didn't have a beard.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He didn't know what you were going to do.
No, he didn't know. It just worked out magically for him.
Matt saying, I thought the Hunters was going to be the most action-packed, edge-of-your-seat experience I've ever had, because of what Ruff had said. Now, Hunters and all those games, not all, but a lot of the games that Greg does are narrative-driven games, and they're not for everybody. Not everybody wants that. If you want that, you're going to have that edge-of-your-seat experience, that theater of the mind. if you're not into that, it's not going to work for you.
Also, it is a lot of fun, but I think there's, like with my flat top experience as an example, I could have a hell of a time with the hunters for sure. Like I've done that, but there's something different about being with 3 or 4 other players and everybody's hooting and hollering at each other. Yeah. And without that dynamic, that sort of takes it to 11, right? That's what takes it above that, where it's really about being with other players, and that happens. That's a very special moment. But yeah, for sure, solitaire games, I'm sure have that. You play Das Boat. Maybe for the hunters, you're playing Das Boat movie. I've done that, for example, and read a book before the first time I played it. So you get that whole narrative going, so you feel it in your soul. But I don't think there's anything that replaces having a bunch of guys getting excited in a room about a game. It's hard to top that.
So, John, I was at, speaking of a group of guys, I was in a con in Seattle, and I was trying to do this quickly, and the Hunters game had just come out. There was 20 of us. We had butcher paper up on the wall, and we kept track over 3 days, and you could just sort of drop in, drop out, and I played a couple of missions. It was the best time. People go, yes, I sunk this. It was awesome. I sunk the least tonnage out of everybody.
I only played it once.
Exactly
one patrol or whatever.
See, one way to get that would be to have everybody start off and have all of the targets in one cup, and as people destroyed it, you pull that out, and no one.
Yeah, we didn't do that, but that would have been cool. Yeah.
I think every time you destroy a target, you should have to take a shot drink. That would be more interesting.
2 targets, 1 cup.
Exactly.
That'd be realistic too, for if you think about the Dust Boat, how the drunk those guys got at the beginning of the movie. So it would work nicely. Yeah. Greg does a great job with this stuff.
Any idea why GMT doesn't do corporate sponsored YouTube, Facebook shows like Compass and LNL does? Are they too big and don't feel they are necessary?
What does that mean? Corporate sponsored?
Probably their own channel, or like doing their own videos and their own town halls. I mean, it's their call. I think they're very successful. They're wildly successful as a company, and Gene's got his son working and his daughter, so they're doing great, and he's got a great team. So I think it's a working they got a working recipe already, and they got a huge audience on BGG for sure. So
it takes a lot of effort. I mean, there's a lot of equipment, a lot of time that goes into something like that. It's not as easy as just hit record and make it happen.
I don't think they need the grassroots effort to have to do that necessarily, given how big they are.
And I know we'll say the same thing here. Players Aid has made it clear they won't review a game they don't like. So in effect, a reviewer won't say something bad about the game. Generally, I'm not going to waste my time on a game that I don't like myself, unless I feel there's a need to give a negative review for whatever reason as a counterpoint. If it's really popular for some reason, like if I ever wanted to give a review on U-Boat. But aside from that, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not getting paid per review. I don't get paid, period. So, and I know Kev, he does not hesitate to put the designer or publisher to task,
Well, look, all I do is, I don't know how it happened, but I just got into sharing my experiences, right? So if those experiences are negative, they're negative, and it doesn't mean that you can be upset about it and get offended about it, and that I apologize, but it's only my view. And when I first started out, I had the same approach and the same attitude, and I had 4 viewers. Now I have a few more than 4, but I don't go out of my way to take people to task. Yeah, 7. No, it's 8. Oh, 8. Oh, good. All right. Can I add those 2 numbers together?
78.
There you go.
So I think you just got to, I don't know. If I like recording my experiences because it's nice history for me, and I like writing about it because it helps me. Then I get excited and go read a book, and I get more involved with the topic. And if the game doesn't grab me, I still play more of the game, but I think people should know that someone didn't like it. Otherwise, it's all just roses and sunshine. It's just kind of goofy.
Well, I think you got to review the bad ones too, or at least the bad aspects. I've reviewed games where I liked the core game itself, but there was a part that was really bad, and I called it out for the part that was really bad.
Sure.
I think if you avoid all games that you just don't like, well, then you're doing a disservice to the fans who are watching, because then they're not getting that information. They want that information. They want to know what you like and don't like.
They could also take it as your silence is that you don't like the game for whatever reason.
We're one person, right? You're a person, he's a person. I can't cover every game that comes out, not even close. So my silence doesn't mean that I don't like it. My silence means that I haven't played it or haven't heard about it or whatever, right? But if I say something about it...
You might not have an interest in the topic. You might not care about the topic. Like, I don't want to play, something about, I don't know, what would be something I don't want to play? There's a lot of things I love to play, but...
I don't like Civil War, right? I don't cover that.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge Civil War guy down at the tactical level, but I'm very interested in the operational aspects. So GCACW is fantastic. But I got super frustrated with Atlanta is Ours just because of all the overhead on custom special rules to manufacture a historical outcome. So, that doesn't take away from the series. Anyway.
Well, with a Calendale video, I don't think it's a journey as much as it is a trip, being the operative word here.
Yeah.
But
we're going to smoke something before you watch those. Be on the same wavelength.
That's true. We're going to wrap it up here. We've taken up enough of John's time, but really do appreciate you coming on tonight, John, and joining us and giving a good explanation, a great explanation about the CSW social site, and as well as some talk about Compass Games and your gaming experience. And I really appreciate that. And a little plug for Consimworld Expo in August.
Yay. Fingers crossed. That's the plan. Knock on wood. End of August. Went as late as we could. Hopefully it's going to happen. That's the goal. That's the plan. We're going to do it August 28th through September 4th.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we will see that happen. And if not, we will still have virtual gaming that we'll be seeing throughout the year until we can get some games in person. But to our guest tonight, John Kranz from Consimworld, we really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Nate and Kev, of course, always great having you guys here along with us, and the audience as well. We really appreciate you guys joining us and adding in your 2 cents from the peanut gallery, as well as your questions and comments for our guest. But we will catch you on the next one here in a couple weeks with special guest Rob Oren. He's going to be coming back on the show.
No shit.
And should be a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll be talking about War and Pieces now that his arm is healing back up. He's getting back into it. So
I didn't get that thing amputated yet.
No, didn't get it amputated. He had to get the bicep sewn back on. He tore it off the bone. So yeah, he had some brackets in there.
Oh my God.
Kev is all cringing over here.
Poor guy.
But once again, everybody, it was a great time tonight, and thanks for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Kev. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.